Thank you for joining us on KREM 2 News First at 4. I'm Tom Sherry.
Welcome everyone. I'm Whitney Ward. 5 more people have died from COVID in Grant County, now bringing the total number of deaths there to 125. And one of the 5 people is a Moses Lake man who was only in his 20s. So Grant County now has a higher death rate even than Spokane County, and it has one of the lowest vaccination rates in the state. Health officials there say they are now working on a more targeted vaccine campaign in order to get to people who may be on the fence about getting immunized.
We have pockets of the community where they're not anti-vaxxers. They do believe in vaccines. They vaccinated their kids to get into school. They vaccinated themselves. They might get a flu shot every year. But somewhere along the way, there was some piece of information about the COVID-19 vaccine that just jarred them. And so we're working on acknowledging that, legitimizing their concern, and hopefully meeting them where they're at with appropriate information and education.
The health district is establishing pop-up clinics now across the county to reach folks who also may live in more rural areas. And there is a special focus on agricultural workers who are among the most vulnerable to the spread of COVID. Right now, officials say the county has 27% of the population fully vaccinated, which is compared to a statewide rate of just over 37%.
Well, in an effort to get the community vaccinated, the Spokane Arena is hosting vaccination happy hour events. The events are happening from 5 to 7 p.m. lots of nights on May 25th and then again on June 2nd, June 8th, and June 16th. These vaccination events will include free food from local vendors, music, and giveaways. There will also be drawing for tickets to upcoming concerts at the arena. 1-dose Johnson & Johnson vaccines are going to be the vaccines they'll be using. People can either schedule an appointment online or you can walk up during the vaccination happy hour.
And in a press conference today, Dr. Frank Velasquez, who is the Spokane Regional Health District Health Officer, encouraged people to get the vaccine and says we are starting to see an uptick now in the number of people who are getting it, specifically healthcare providers.
And good news is many of those that decided to wait a little bit longer are coming forward saying, I think it's all good. I'm ready to go now.
So happening tomorrow, Providence Health is hosting a vaccine clinic at Gonzaga University. They'll be offering the Pfizer vaccine, and right now it's the only one approved for kids 12 years and older. Walk-ins are also welcome from 11 a.m. until 6:30 p.m. Over in North Idaho, Kootenai Health is also seeing an increase in COVID-19 patients. Hospital leaders say that spike started around the same time that Governor Brad Little moved the state into phase 4 of reopening just a few weeks ago. As of this morning, hospital leaders say 27 patients were receiving care for COVID-19. 6 of them are in critical care. Kootenai Health's chief of staff says it likely comes down to low vaccination rates.
And so it's not a supply problem. It's really people either don't feel the need that they need to get it. They may not have good information on the vaccine. I think there's some people, especially the younger population, they don't see the need. But what we see now in the patients that we're admitting is that they are younger.
Dr. Scoggins also says they are likely seeing increased transmission due to the presence of different COVID variants, which are more easily spread. Coming up tonight at 6, we'll also have more on what local health leaders are doing to combat this spike in COVID-19 patients.
And some other news out of Kootenai County. In yesterday's special election, voters approved a replacement levy for the Post Falls School District. The levy passed 53% to 47%. It approves almost $5 million now for the district. The levy pays for a variety of programs from technology to security to health services. This comes after the measure was struck down last year by only 33 votes. This time around, though, 6,500 voters made it to the polls or submitted absentee ballots versus the 2,800 which voted last March.
Well, if you spent any time outside, you definitely know that it was much cooler. We're all wearing sweaters and socks here today, and that's just kind of the picture. Look at that moody sky back there.
That's a great way to say it, a moody sky. And you know, during May, it may rain, it may be sunny, it may be cool, it may be warm. Well, it's going to be on the cool side, and much needed rain is on the way. We're getting it again tonight in the overnight hours. Widespread rain expected on Thursday, much cooler too. Highs tomorrow only in the mid-50s. Chance chance of showers again on Sunday into Monday, but the 70-degree temperatures will return next week. So this really is good news that we're getting this kind of cool and wet weather. Gosh, we're only at 51 degrees. Hard to believe last weekend we were in the 80s. And there's the widespread rain that we're talking about across areas of eastern Washington and northern Idaho. Close-up view. Again, no rain right now in Spokane, but over towards Coeur d'Alene in the Rathdrum Prairie, we're seeing the showers up around Ione, seeing some rain. And just before you get to Medical Lake, you're also seeing some showers out there along I-90. So look for an overnight low of 41 degrees. High tomorrow, 56 degrees. For the weekend, I've got mostly dry weather on Saturday, slight chance of showers on Sunday. Temperatures start warming up to about average on Sunday, which is 68 degrees. I'll talk about the 10-day or the 7-day outlook for you coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, Tom, thank you very much. We want to give you a sneak peek now at a story that we are working on for you tomorrow, getting the Inland Northwest's biggest utility company ready for wildfire season. I asked Avista what it takes to be ready for a summer that is already expected to be hot, dry, and potentially dangerous. I learned weather is actually the big unknown and the most difficult challenge.
We've seen the impacts of some recent wind events even this year. During the summer, it's a bit of a combination. Wind is definitely a driver, but also the amount of moisture in the fuels. And this year we're seeing much drier conditions, so those are a concern.
Coming up tomorrow at 6, you're going to hear more about the possibility also of rolling blackouts and how you as a customer could be affected if the power does go out this summer. So that's tomorrow night right here on Crime 2 News at 6.
Well, with wildfire season right around the corner, people are getting their communities and their homes ready for it. Our Amanda Rowley talked to a Pine City resident about getting mentally prepared as well.
The Babb Road wildfire is still fresh in the minds of residents in Malden and Pine City. Some people are scared, are nervous about the upcoming wildfire season, but they are making preparations and taking the steps to arm themselves for this upcoming season.
I wish nothing like this would ever happen again anywhere. I think people don't realize how we feel that have been through this unless they went through it also.
Tonight at 5, I'll explain what steps both towns are taking to prepare for the wildfire season. Reporting in Malden, Amanda Rowley, Crime 2 News.
And all year around, firefighters are thinking about wildfire season. Programs run year-round to help limit the spread of the flames once summer arrives. But as Nicole Hernandez learned, the pandemic affected many of those prevention efforts.
With people home more this past year, one way some landowners filled their extra time was by doing wildfire prevention.
Fire hazard abatement was actually identified by the governor as an essential function.
Since it's all outside, Washington State's Department of Natural Resources Landowners Program continued through the pandemic.
And in fact, we came very close to meeting our targets, which are very aggressive targets.
DNR workers come out to help landowners remove small trees like these ones. They also help them prune up their bigger trees so that fires can't climb them as much. And then they also help them remove slash, the stuff on the ground that burns really easily.
When the fuels are overgrown, especially around infrastructure and people's homes where people reside, then that puts lives at risk and property at risk.
DNR can't completely stop wildfires, though. When it comes to actually being on the fire line when a wildfire hits, their normal rules are pretty COVID safe already. Firefighters line up at least 10 feet apart, but there were some changes last year.
The biggest challenge for us is transportation. That's where we had to take extra precautions and make sure we were masked up and wipe down the surfaces.
They had to do the same thing in the camp areas where fire teams stay overnight.
We saw a dramatic reduction in the amount of camp crud, what we call camp crud, which is where people get sick in fire camps.
Of course, healthy firefighters helps with productivity on the fire line. So the plan is to actually keep some of those changes going even after the pandemic. In Spokane, Nicole Hernandez, Crime 2 News.
While many Americans are getting vaccinated, there are still people who are skeptical of the vaccine. So coming up after the break, we break down some of the people's concerns about the vaccines. We'll do that next.